Today we'll be looking at notes 3.2 and we're going to be focusing on interest groups. So, what are interest groups? A special interest group. This is an association of people who hold similar views or goals. They represent those views and goals and try to influence public policy. So, important to groups who feel their views are overlooked. So the roles of interest groups organize people who share concerns, provide members with the means of political participation, supply information to the public and to policymakers. So ultimately, people that share a similar group. So the last notes we talked about public opinion and your individual opinion, and that determines your how you vote, what you're interested in. But with interest groups, now you find people with similar views, and it could be something like you are all Catholic, and so you create a Catholic interest group where you want lawmakers to pass laws that match up with your Catholic values. Maybe that means you are against abortion. Maybe that means you want certain things like family values to be on the forefront for what policymakers are going to do. And so, again, it's groups like that. So, we'll go over different types of groups. There are also political action committees, PACs. This is an organization created to raise and contribute money legally to campaigns of political candidates. So specific political action committees, they will produce ads. And so they don't necessarily always work directly with the candidate, but they'll choose which candidates they want to support and they'll use their money to create ads and create support for those candidates. Interest groups. So joining the interest groups gives each person's opinion more impact than it had when the person acted alone. Actual membership of interest groups is down over the years, but donations are still strong. Interest groups can use their money to supply information to the public, build websites to create a positive image of themselves, can create ad campaigns to attack specific candidates. So types of interest groups. So they can be like agricultural groups to represent the nation's farmers and agricultural industry. The American Farm Bureau Federation represents all farmers, or you can have something like National Potato Council. It's a commodity group that represents a specific type of farmer. So you have groups where it's all farmers, or maybe just specific, like almond farmers, berry farmers, because what they want to see happen might be different than farmers as a whole. There are business groups. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce represents business interests in general. The National Federation of Independent Business represents small and independent business owners. Trade associations represent certain industries or parts of industries, maybe like electricians or truck drivers, welders. So, again, very specific to what they would want. And it supports laws and policies that benefit their industry. Types of interest groups. So labor groups. Most labor interest groups are also labor unions. So labor unions do double duty. Groups of workers who do the same job or work in related industries. So like the California Teacher Association, that's our big labor union. They represent California teachers, and so they'll send out things to me, political flyers saying, "Here's who we support." In terms of trying to get everyone on the same page. So they contribute to political campaigns. Many unions have a committee on political education, and it directs the union's political activities. You have cause-based groups, promotes a cause rather than an interest in society. You have societal groups that represent religious, social, racial interests, something like the National Organization for Women. Professional groups that represent a profession, like the National Bar Association. Functions of special interest groups. So they will endorse candidates, help to elect candidates who are in supportive of their views. When you endorse someone, you are publicly declaring your support for them. Also, lobbying, which is contacting a public official to persuade the official to support the group's interest. Informing public opinion, provide someone to testify to express and explain the group's interests. Practice grassroots politics. Filing lawsuits can influence public policy by changing law through lawsuits. So, interest groups and the public good. And so, this can give a voice to minority groups who wouldn't typically be heard. Criticism of interest groups that they have too much influence. Small groups can have a big impact. They focus too narrowly on issues, they ignore broader needs of politics, they appeal to people's emotions rather than finding reasonable solutions. So, the fact that these interest groups donate to candidates, to their campaigns, make it almost essential for the candidates to feel like I need their support and can kind of tie their hands when it comes to voting, where maybe they're voting more because they don't want to upset the interest group rather than what their constituents would want or kind of with the big picture. So that's where people feel they may have too much power. Limits on interest groups. So Congress has passed a series of ethics rules for legislators and limits types of activities for lobbyists. Most of these laws had short and limited success. So some people feel there should be limits on like how much an interest group can contribute, um, or how often. So it just kind of depends. So this is the end of the notes. You want to make sure you go back and fill in all of your key terms for this set of notes.